The Meta Quest 3S, or Quest 3 Lite as we've all been calling it, looks more official than ever in this last week when they accidentally leaked it onto the Meta Store, putting the Meta Quest 3S basically on every app and everything in existence. The Quest Store pages where they usually show Meta Quest 3, Quest Pro, Quest 2 also showed this Quest 3S, and very quickly after this was realized, they ended up pulling all of this off of there, making this seem more possible than ever. This Quest 3S or Quest 3 Lite we've been talking to you about in the news, but basically the idea behind this headset is this would be a headset that uses the same Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2 processor that the Quest 3 uses, but with cheaper optics similar to what the Quest 2 is using, such as the lenses, which are those older style Fresnel lenses, what looks to be a bit of a bulkier style headset, but adding mixed reality cameras for pass-through, meaning this could do most everything the Quest 3 does, but in a cheaper packaging. This could then effectively replace the Quest 2, still has the same controllers as the Quest 3 does now, and offer the entire thing at a more competitive price point to replace the Quest 2. Not only that, but this week we also got possibly a look at the new Quest 3S. There's a video posted by Meta's CTO Boz talking about update v66, which we'll cover later in the video, but in the video there is a headset in the background that doesn't look like a Quest 3, but doesn't look like a Quest 2. Definitely looks like possibly what this Quest 3S is going to be, but with possibly some sort of elite head strap on it, or maybe a cloth one that was just oddly straight. As Upload VR pointed out, it's definitely too thick to be a Quest 3, but it's less curved than the Quest 2 one, making it seem like maybe this was an unintentional or more likely intentional leak. At this point, it seems like we get so many leaks from Meta that they've got to be coming from someone in the company, because there's always plenty of them and they're oftentimes completely accurate. We finally got dates for Meta Connect 2024. That's September 25th and 26th. And if Meta follows suit like they usually do every year, it's usually when they announce the new headsets. Basically, they've opened up orders for the Quest 2, the Quest Pro, the Quest 3 all every year at Connect. And now it seems like this Quest 3S or Quest 3 Lite is closer than ever. And now they've set the dates for Connect a little bit earlier even, albeit only a few days earlier than it was last year. Last year, we actually were lucky enough to be at Connect live and see it happening. Although we had gotten so many rumors and leaks about the Quest 3, it seemed like they spent a very small amount of time on the keynote on Quest 3 and more time on AI and Ray-Bans and all of that. I don't know for sure if we're going to be there this year, but hopefully we'll get to be back there reporting directly to you, showing off what's coming first. Although personally, I was hoping they'd bring back the gaming showcase that they usually do earlier in the year and give us this 3S or 3 Lite earlier. It is looking like more and more we are going to have to wait for that Connect event. With all this upcoming future news about another possible headset, there's still good news even for those of us who already have headsets, and especially Quest's new update v66 supposedly is going to fix a big issue that a lot of us had with pass-through distortion and warping. If you're unfamiliar with this, basically when you're in pass-through, there are multiple cameras being woven together all at once, and if you were to reach your hand up and run it across your entire field of view, it's pretty easy to tell where those cameras split from one to another because your hand gets all distorted and warped. This can actually add to some people's motion sickness even in mixed reality because it makes the world not quite look right from inside the headset. Well, now v66 is reportedly significantly reducing that effect, and as Boz showed us off in that same video from earlier in the news where he showed off what looks to be the new Quest 3S, showing how this is supposed to look much better and make it a much more realistic representation of the world around you. And in this comparison, you see side by side with v66 and v65, this obviously is their comparison. This is not something we've been able to do a test on yet, but it does look much better, and like there's much less distortion. This after we've had repeated updates through the software v64, 65 this year, making phone screens more readable. It definitely feels like this whole push for great mixed reality, especially as Apple has entered the space, is really starting to pay off in what we're seeing in the Quest updates. We did talk about v66 already in other news, so we'll talk briefly on some of the other additions. There's an experimental new thing with wrist buttons for hand tracking instead of trying to tap your fingers like we're used to. A sleep mode in case you'd want to be able to get your headset booted up faster. That way it can still add updates to the headset, doesn't have to be fully powered off in between everything, but when you go to put it on, it won't be completely dead on battery either. Finally, this one for me personally is huge. The ability to hide apps in your library. From the hundreds of free games now we've tested, I'll leave a link at the end of the video to some of those lists that walk you through a ton of the free games you can get on your headset out there. Every time I tested a game, it stayed in my library. So my Quest library has probably 400 games in it that I have to go through every time I'm trying to find a game. Well, now you can actually go in and hide apps in there that you had downloaded before, which is huge for me personally, and probably for a lot of you out there too who are also checking out a lot of the free games. And another exciting one, background audio. So now basically you can keep a web browser still playing audio. So let's say you want to play Super Hot while playing the Matrix soundtrack at the same time. You can now have it playing even when you're in an immersive app, still playing some sort of audio or music for you. Seems like the last few updates have had more exciting features, which I'm excited to announce and talk to you about here. And if somehow we use any of this face cam from this and you're like, where the heck are you? I have built the most faux rigged sound booth ever here in our new studio because we aren't done constructing everything yet. But we'll have more about that in the next news or next videos coming out for you. We've done a lot of giveaways on this channel to celebrate how far all of you have pushed our channel and made it grow. We've got 2 of them ending this weekend. A new Quest 3 is going to be given away to somebody here soon. About 2,000 people have entered that, but a Bobo VR accessories giveaway where the last winner got to get basically a full Bobo VR accessories package, and that one only about 800 people have entered so far. So if you missed either of those, I'll leave links down in the description, the comments to make sure and get entered. Tons of great things are happening for the channel. Big news, this new studio, all these things going on. So we'll probably have some new giveaways even launched this weekend, maybe before those other ones end, just to say thank you to all of you out there. So watch out for that video over the weekend too. Although it's probably way too late for this deal and it was a very small amount of people that were able to get access to it, it is newsworthy that the Quest 2 hit its lowest price ever, literally $100 for that full headset package, brand new. This was on BJ's Wholesale Club, which is something you have to be a member of to get the deal. And again, already probably too late, but it's wild to see how cheap these things are getting. And it only seems like more fuel to the fire, the fact that they've dropped the price on the headset, the accessories for it. They're trying to get as low on stock as possible of the Quest 2 before we get this Quest 3S to come out. Now that we've gotten through most of this move, we usually keep you updated with more of the breaking news on deals like this when they happen. So hopefully the next time there's a steal of a deal like this, we'll be able to get it to you in time where you can actually maybe get one for yourself. Some exciting news for those of you who are local here near the channel. Basically, we've got this all set up this Saturday, June 8th, 10:30, Cook Family Park. That's near Portland, Oregon. For those of you out there who are nearby, I'm going to show up. We've got a whole list of all the extra Quest accessories we had pile up over time. And anyone who shows up, I'm just going to give them away to all of you out there. So if somehow you missed us talking about these in the last few news and you are someone who wants to make the drive here, you're close by, there's a link to the Discord down below that you can join to get the minute-to-minute update of when we're heading out there. We got all the stuff, but obviously here now that we have all the details, again, that's this Saturday, June 8th, Cook Family Park here near Portland. It's technically in Tigard, although it's basically the south end of Beaverton. For those of you who are here in Oregon, you know what I'm talking about. But this is something we're excited to hopefully do more of in the future. We've got so many of these accessories pile up over time, and I try to send them out and give them away, but ultimately shipping piles up when you're sending these one by one by one. And maybe what we'll start doing, if I can get organized enough for this to happen and I can get enough luggage space, we might actually be able to start doing these when we go to events around the country, just bringing some in a carry-on bag or in a packed bag and just give as much back to all of you as we can out there, because seriously, you've done so much for us. Thank you for being with us. If you haven't heard of AWE, that's the Augmented World Expo. That's basically like one of the biggest trade shows, but it's specifically for the XR world, VR, AR, MR. It's actually happening in Long Beach later this month, and we actually have tickets, although I don't think we're gonna make it to it. We've got so much going on with this new studio, getting it set up and everything that's happening. But in a surprising post, Palmer Luckey, one of the original founders of Oculus, said that he's going to be announcing the fact that he's working on a new headset at AWE. We don't know much more beyond that. All we know is that he has announced he's working on something, and we're going to find out more about it there. It's pretty wild to hear that's happening, and I would imagine when Facebook acquired Oculus, there was probably some sort of non-competitive clause or some amount of time before he could start doing something like this. But the work they did at Oculus really changed the whole landscape of VR. Is it possible he could come back and do that again? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you've been holding out for a PC headset for a while, PlayStation VR 2 is about to become the next PCVR headset via an adapter that will be launching in August. Basically, Sony announced in a blog post they're going to sell an adapter for around $60 that's going to allow you to hook up your PSVR 2 to a PC, although there's a lot of caveats with this to start. Obviously, you need a DisplayPort 1.4 cable, something that some PC owners already have or something you can acquire on Amazon for pretty cheap. You connect it to the PC, you download a PlayStation VR 2 app, and then of course you use Steam VR, but this app allows it to basically tell Steam VR how to use the PlayStation VR's tracking and systems on it. Unfortunately though, to start off, Sony knows notes that a lot of its PSVR 2 features will not work or be available on a PC. No HDR, no Sense controller haptic feedback, so the nice haptics you get in those Sense controllers, it's just going to be a standard rumble. No headset haptic feedback, so none of the headset vibrations you feel now. No eye tracking and no 3D audio. Most of the things that make a PSVR 2 competitive at all these days won't be available, at least to start. You still do get the 4K per eye, the 110 field of view, finger tracking, and fixed foveated rendering, which means that you'll get to see the most clear image directly in front of where your headset is looking, but if you move your eyes around, it's not going to change that. This is exciting, as we've been talking about this as a rumor for a long time. It's exciting that it's finally happening, but it kind of kills it for me the minute you find out everything that makes the PSVR 2 special isn't going to work. I hope that developers or someone will figure out a way to make this happen, but it was also kind of weird to me to hear that they're making you have an additional cable. It seems like if you buy an adapter, it would include the cable with it. So what are your thoughts out there? Do you care about PC? Do you care about PSVR 2 at all? I'd love to know and continue the conversation in the comments. We've been having a little bit less of news and stuff lately just because we've been so busy with this move and everything going on, but we're back in it, even if I'm having to record in the most fake little sound booth I literally threw together in a minute here that could fall on me at any moment. But once again, thank you all of you out there for being here and supporting us. We've got some big updates to show you as we get this whole place put together, but thank you, and I'll see you in another reality.